25 years ago, a PlayStation kid got a phone call from his best friend. Dude, you've got to come over this weekend. I've got this new game. It's called Halo. Now, honestly, that was already enough to get my attention because I've always loved a very specific kind of science fiction. Broken future. It's 500 years in the future. Humanity has conquered the stars. We've discovered faster than light travel. We've colonized distant worlds. And we've achieved technological miracles. But we're still solving most of our problems with bullets. Perfect. No notes from me. So I went over to my friend's house, picked up a controller, and stepped into a suit of green armor. And 25 years later, I'm sitting behind a microphone recording part 5 of a 5-part series about that character. Which raises a pretty fair question. Why? Why do some stories stay with us for decades? Why do certain characters become part of us? Why, after 25 years, are Halo fans still completely incapable of acting normal about this franchise? Today, we finish the fight. Hey, and welcome to, or welcome back to, the Average Joe Nerdcast. I'm Nate, your resident Average Joe, professional nerd, owner of 6 lightsabers, which means I am exactly one bad financial decision away from opening a very disappointing Jedi temple. And today, we finally arrive at the end of the road. 5 episodes. John 117, the Spartan 2 program, the Human Covenant War, the Halo rings, the promises, the losses, and the humanity beneath the armor. And you know what? After all of that, I kind of realized something. I don't think this series is really about Master Chief anymore. Or at least, not entirely. Because if someone wanted a lore breakdown, my friends, those already exist. And I genuinely encourage you to go seek them out. There are creators that have put an unbelievable amount of time, love, and effort into making Halo lore approachable and very easy to digest. Huge shout out to Installation 00 and Hidden Xperia. Those guys have forgotten more Halo lore than I'll probably ever know. So please, go and support them. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm trying to answer today is something much different. Why do heroes matter? And what does it say about us that we spend decades carrying these stories around? So grab yourself a cup of coffee, or if you've got an old game fuel laying around, crack it open, and then pull up a chair. This is Mainline Monday. There's a line in Halo 2 that has lived rent-free in my head for 22 years. Sergeant Johnson is talking to Chief, and he says, "Folks need heroes, Chief, to give them hope. So smile, would you, while we still got something to smile about." Now, first of all, Chief is wearing a helmet. He could have been sticking his tongue out at Lord Hood. He could have been making fish faces. He could have been daydreaming about cheeseburgers or wondering if anyone remembered to feed the MOA. We have absolutely no idea. And honestly, that's part of the beauty of the character. But the older I get, the less I think Johnson was talking about smiling, and the more I think he was talking about hope. Because, hope is weird. People think hope shows up when everything is okay, but hope doesn't show up when everything is okay. Hope shows up when things are uncertain, when things are bad, when things are hard. Hope shows up when you're staring at a problem and going, well, this sucks, now what? And speaking of things sucking, this reminds me of my dad. And if you listened to How Did We Get Here, then congrats. But if you haven't, I'll give you the footnotes. Apparently, my dad accidentally became a philosopher through the medium of beating my ass in the video game Bloody Roar. And when I say I was getting my ass beat, I'm talking I was getting absolutely demolished. And I asked him, "Dad, could you maybe go easy on me? Just a little?" And without missing a beat, he says, "Son, if I go easy on you, how will you ever learn?" Now, at the time, I thought that was an incredibly rude thing to say to a kid. But as an adult, he was cooking. Because life doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't care if it's fair. Responsibilities show up, loss shows up, failure shows up, people leave, people disappoint you. And that's not pessimism, that's just Mondays. And maybe that's why heroes endure, not because they're stronger than us or because they're perfect, and because they don't always win. Maybe they endure because they remind us of something we'd like to believe, that when life knocks us down, we can find the strength to get back up. And if that's true, then maybe the real question isn't, why is Master Chief gaming's greatest hero? Maybe the real question is, why, out of everyone, did so many of us choose him? Because the truth is, Chief doesn't stand alone. Not even close. Gaming has given us some genuinely incredible heroes over the years. Heroes that stick around long after the credits roll. Heroes that somehow teach us things while we're busy trying to figure out where the hell we're supposed to go next. Link, a kid living in a forest, minding his own business, and one day someone basically says, "Hey kiddo, evil is back. Here's a sword. Get out there and figure it out." And he does. No guarantees, no certainty, no instruction manual, just courage. And honestly, adult life feels a lot like that some days. Then there's Mario. The man has fallen into lava approximately 8 million times. Bowser steals the same woman every single game for 40 years, and Mario clocks back in. No complaints, no therapy, no sick days, just woohoo! And off he goes. That's resilience. Or unresolved issues. You know what? It's probably both. Then there's Solid Snake. You boot up Metal Gear Solid expecting military espionage. And 6 hours later, you're asking yourself questions about genetics, identity, patriotism, information control, and whether a cardboard box is the greatest stealth technology ever devised. Snake teaches us something painful. Sometimes the systems we devote ourselves to aren't worthy of that devotion. And figuring that out, it hurts. Then there's Kratos, and not younger, angry Kratos. We all know angry Kratos. I'm talking about Dad Kratos, the guy trying to learn patience, trying to learn restraint, trying to become someone his son can admire. Because defeating monsters is really easy. Changing yourself? Dude, that's the real final boss. Then there's Arthur Morgan, and that one still hurts. It's a man realizing way too late he spent years becoming someone he never intended to be, and then trying anyway. Trying to leave the world just a little better, trying to help people, trying to matter with whatever time he has left. And if you know, well, you know. Then there's Commander Shepard, the only person in human history capable of solving galactic extinction events by walking into a room and aggressively making friends. Shepard teaches leadership, trust, building a team, and occasionally punching reporters, which I am legally obligated to say I do not endorse, even if Renegade Shepard was absolutely hilarious. Then there's Marcus Phoenix, a man who wakes up every morning and decides, you know what? Today feels like a good day to chainsaw Mole Man. But underneath all of that, Marcus is grief, loss, brotherhood, found family, and continuing forward after you've lost almost everything. Then there's Joel Miller, complicated, messy, human, a man who loved someone so deeply that he was willing to break the world all over again. And those conversations remain the most peaceful discussions on the internet. Just kidding. People still throw hands over Joel Miller. And every single one of these characters deserves their place in the pantheon of great heroes. Because every great hero gives us something, a lesson, a warning, an aspiration, a mirror, something. But Chief was different. And I think Chief was different because for a while, we weren't just watching him, we were him. And Steve's here, everybody. What's up, Steve? Steve says Arthur Morgan still emotionally devastates him. Dude, join the club. Half the internet still hasn't recovered. Steve says if we're being honest, Arthur Morgan probably made more people cry than Master Chief. And you know what? That's fair. Different jobs. Arthur's story is trying to break your heart. Chief's story is trying to help you carry it. Actually, that's pretty good, dude. I hate it when you're right. Today's episode of the Average Joe Nerdcast is brought to you by the Hero Starter Pack. Need courage? Try Link. Need resilience? Mario is available. Need existential dread? Solid Snake has you covered. Need anger management? Kratos is making progress. Need redemption? Try Arthur Morgan. Need emotional damage? Also Arthur Morgan. Need even more emotional damage? I present Joel Miller. Need someone to aggressively solve galactic extinction through the power of friendship? Commander Shepard. Need someone to remind you that chainsawing giant lizards is apparently a valid coping mechanism? Marcus Phoenix. Every hero starter pack includes one impossible situation, one morally compromising decision, 3 dead mentors, 2 unresolved trauma responses, and a lifetime supply of emotional baggage. Because apparently, that's just how character development works. Hero Starter Pack, helping generations of nerds learn life lessons from people that technically don't exist. And honestly, I think that's the difference, because every great gaming hero gives us something. Link teaches courage, Snake teaches skepticism, Kratos teaches growth, Arthur teaches redemption, Shepard teaches leadership, Marcus teaches perseverance, Joel teaches us that love is complicated. And occasionally, completely terrifying. But Chief, I don't think Chief was ever trying to teach us anything. And honestly, I kind of think that's why it worked. He wasn't giving inspirational speeches. He wasn't looking directly into the camera. He wasn't telling us, believe in yourself. And thank God for that, because hearing Master Chief say, remember, Spartans, the real Halo was inside you all along, would have probably caused a riot. Chief taught through example, quietly, consistently, patiently. Show up, do the job, protect people, carry what needs carried, keep your promises, get knocked down, get back up, always move forward. And maybe that's why he aged so well, because when we were kids, Chief is cool, the armor is cool, the voice is cool, the assault rifle is cool, the warthogs are cool, the energy sword is cool. The fact that he rides a Covenant bomb through space after saying, "Sir, permission to leave the station," to give the Covenant back their bomb, dude, that's peak cinema. No notes. But then something happens. We get older, and suddenly Chief stops being cool and starts being relatable. You begin to notice things. You notice how often he chooses other people. You notice how rarely he asks for recognition. You notice how much responsibility he quietly shoulders. You notice how often he carries things alone. And eventually, you just stop seeing the armor and you start seeing the person. And honestly, I think all of us eventually arrive there. But before we understood any of that, and before our knees started sounding like someone shaking a box of Legos every single time we stood up, he was just cool. And maybe that's okay, because eventually cool becomes comfort, comfort becomes memory, and memory becomes meaning. And my friends, once we start talking Halo memories, I'm probably not shutting up for a while. Because after 5 episodes, I think I've finally earned the right to say something very important. Us Halo kids, we won. I'm serious, we won. 25 years. Dude, that's longer than I've known my wife, longer than I've had tattoos, longer than I've paid taxes, longer than my knees have sounded like someone stepping on bubble wrap every morning. 25 years, and somehow Halo has been there for almost all of it. And my friends, I have to talk about Halo 2, because Halo 2 wasn't just a game. Halo 2 was an event. At least it was for me. It was my very first midnight release ever. Me and one of my best friends standing around our local mall after closing time, and looking back, it sounds incredibly stupid. We stood around waiting to buy a video game. That's the whole story. But man, it felt cool. Everything was dark. Every single store was closed except GameStop. And there was this weird energy, like we had all accidentally joined some secret society. Everyone there knew. No one had to explain it. No one had to justify why they were standing around in a mostly empty mall at midnight, because we all understood. Halo 2, baby. There were people talking Xbox Live, talking dual wielding, talking about the Arbiter, people debating if Bungie could somehow top Combat Evolved. And honestly, we had absolutely no idea what Halo was about to become, because Halo 2 gave me something else. It gave me my emblem. The emblem I have used in every Halo game since. 25 years, same emblem. Hell, without Halo 2, I genuinely don't think you get the average Joe Nerdcast logo, because the AJN logo is basically a love letter to that Halo emblem. 25 years later, I'm still carrying pieces of Halo around in my art, my hobbies, this show, in this community we're trying to build. And that's kind of wild, because all of that, literally all of it all started with a phone call. And then Halo 3 happened, and my friends, Halo 3 wasn't a game release. Halo 3 was a cultural event, like genuinely. I don't know if younger listeners can fully appreciate just how massive Halo 3 really was. Because today, games launch, people tweet, people argue, someone gets mad, someone gets excited, someone makes a YouTube video titled, "Is this the death of gaming?" And then we all just collectively move on. But Halo 3 felt different. Halo 3 felt like a worldwide event. The Believe campaign, the diorama, the music, the interviews with old veterans talking about Master Chief like he was a real soldier. Dude, to this day, that commercial still gives me chills. And Mountain Dew was making an irresponsible amount of money off Halo kids. There was Game Fuel, Doritos, action figures, books, posters, special editions, Halo Nerf guns, Halo Mega Blocks. Chief was everywhere. And for a little while, it felt like the entire world finally understood what Halo fans had been screaming about since 2001. And then the game came out, and holy shit. You got Forge, custom games, theater mode, saved films, achievement hunting, skulls, machinima. Dude, Halo 3 wasn't just a game. Halo 3 was basically social media before social media. There were people sharing screenshots, clips, maps, movies, stupid game modes, people making memories. And honestly, Halo 3 taught me something too. Communities don't survive because games are perfect. Communities survive because developers accidentally hand players a sandbox and say, "Here, go be idiots." And Halo kids looked at Bungie and collectively said, "Say less." There was Duck Hunt, Fat Kid, Jenga, Trash Compactor, Mongoose Racing, Rocket Race, Ice Cream Man, Cops and Robbers. Maps held together by creativity, ingenuity, and what I'm pretty sure were 17 OSHA violations. And then there was Xbox Live, before Discord, before social media became what it is today. You knew people, you recognized gamer tags, your friends list were full, people logged on every night, people invited people, people hung out. No one ever said, "Hey, how's your mental health?" No, they said, "Dude, get online, we're doing customs." And everyone just knew. There were no details, no itinerary, no expectations. You just logged on and joined up, and 6 hours later, you realized you had school tomorrow, or work, or responsibilities. And you ignored them all. Because Halo kids collectively decided sleep was optional from approximately 2004 until 2011, and honestly, worth it. Every single second. And then there was Reach. And man, Reach is special to me. Not necessarily because I think it's the best Halo game, although it's absolutely in the conversation, but because Reach might contain some of my favorite memories in all of gaming. Yet another midnight release. At this point, I had participated in every single Halo midnight launch since Halo 2, and somehow they never stopped feeling magical. There were people debating armor abilities, people arguing about sprint, people wondering if Bungie could possibly top Halo 3, people surviving entirely on Mountain Dew, Doritos, and bad decisions. And then Reach came out, and Reach introduced me to SWAT. Now, admittedly, SWAT existed before Reach, but Reach was where I discovered it. And my friends, that game mode permanently rewired my brain chemistry. Because apparently, I enjoy game modes where everyone dies instantly, every mistake is punished immediately, and my blood pressure rises to medically concerning levels. And I don't know what that says about me. Probably nothing good. But honestly, SWAT isn't what I remember most. I remember the people. Because by reach, I wasn't a teenager anymore. I was in my 20s. Life had already started happening: jobs, bills, relationships, breakups, stress, trying to figure out who the hell I was supposed to be post army as an adult. And then we'd get online, party up, run SWAT, jump into firefight, play customs, laugh until our stomachs hurt, talk about absolutely nothing and everything. And honestly, it bears repeating. Some of my fondest memories in gaming happened during Halo Reach with people who simply aren't a part of my life anymore. Some drifted away, some moved, some relationships changed, some people became chapters instead of lifelong characters. And you know what? That's okay. Because every now and then I hear winter contingency, or ashes, or I think about my armor, or my old gamer tag. I remember exactly who was in my party. I remember who always called dibs on the sniper rifle. I remember who always talked the most trash. I remember who always swore they weren't taking the game seriously while simultaneously sweating harder than anyone else in the entire lobby. And for a few minutes, I'm 20 some odd years old again. Life is still messy, bills still exist, and adult problems are still waiting for me tomorrow morning. But just for a moment, all my friends are online. SWAT is booting up. Someone is talking trash. Someone's laughing. Someone is threatening to uninstall because they just got domed for the 15th time. And somehow, for just a couple hours, whatever was waiting for tomorrow, it could just wait. And then Bungie did something incredibly rude. They made me care about Noble Team. And absolutely, George hurts. He's the big brother, the protector, the guy carrying the weight, the guy who dies believing he just saved Reach. Only for us to realize, my friend, that ship was just the beginning. But if I'm being honest, the death that stuck with me, it was Six. Six wasn't 25 years of established character. Six was me. Six was us. That was my armor, my visor, my Spartan, my vessel. And Bungie spends an entire game telling us exactly what's going to happen. Reach falls, everyone dies. History has already been written. And we still spend the entire campaign believing maybe this time, maybe we can save them, maybe Bungie figured something out. And then they hand us one final objective: survive. No extraction, no miracle, no happy ending, no chief miraculously showing up, no last minute rescue. Just you, an impossible fight, and a game quietly telling you sometimes heroism isn't winning. Sometimes heroism is standing your ground. And that one gets me. And while we're celebrating Halo kids, can we all just collectively acknowledge something? Xbox Live in the early 2000s was the Wild West. It was lawless, unregulated. There was no communities or LFG apps, no algorithms trying to feed you engagement. There was just Xbox Live and vibes. And some 14-year-old from Ohio saying things into a microphone that would have made a Navy sailor blush. It was pure, unadulterated, absolute chaos. In those Halo lobbies, we had sword lunging, super bouncing, BXR, double shots, button glitches, people exploiting every mechanic Bungie accidentally left in the game. And Bungie basically looked at all of us and said, well, guess they're doing that now. Our friends lists were full, like legitimately full. Does anyone remember that? You would log on, see 30 people online, half of them playing Halo, the other half pretending they weren't supposed to be asleep. And there was always that one guy. Always, if you played split screen. The screen peeker. Dude, we all knew. No one turns around that fast. No one checks every single corner perfectly. No one magically knows exactly where I'm crouched every single game. You were screen peeking. And if you don't admit it now, 25 years later, you're still a liar just like you were back then. And we'd stay online way too late. We'd have school tomorrow or work or responsibilities, but none of that mattered because someone would always say, just one more game. And everyone knew there was never just one more game. It was another 3 hours minimum, and occasionally someone got grounded and we all got to hear it. You'd hear a door open, "Get off that game!" Power button, silence. And then all of us would collectively go, "Oh." Dude was gone, vanished, consumed by parental authority. And then honestly, Halo books, Halo action figures, Halo Mega Blocks, Halo posters, collector's editions, Mountain Dew game fuel cans, remembering birthdays because they lined up with Halo releases. Guys, we weren't fans. We were in a cult, a very wholesome cult, but a cult nonetheless. And honestly, I regret almost none of it. Almost. Because there is one thing Halo kids collectively survived: that damn TV show. Halo hasn't always been perfect, and honestly, that's okay. 25 years is a very long time. 25 years means eventually you're going to swing and miss. Sometimes you're going to stumble. Sometimes you're going to make weird decisions. Sometimes you're going to argue with your fan base. Sometimes you're going to release armor coatings, and sometimes you're going to make a TV show. And honestly, after 25 years, there are a lot of questions I've had about Master Chief and Halo at large. But do you know what I've never wondered? Not once. In 25 years, at 3 in the morning, while staring at my ceiling, I have never once thought, boy, I really hope Paramount explores Chief's sex life. It's never crossed my mind. Not one time. Dude, we wanted grunts, warthogs, Sergeant Johnson. We wanted Marines yelling dumb stuff. We wanted more Spartans. We wanted hunters, plasma grenades, war crimes against Covenant vehicles. We wanted an elite to say wart, wart, wart at deeply unhealthy volumes. And look, I understand creative liberties. I genuinely do. TV is expensive. CGI Covenant are expensive. You can't have Spartans fighting armies of aliens every single episode. I understand wanting to appeal to people who have never played Halo. Fair. Seriously, fair. But I think Halo spent 25 years proving something important. You don't need Chief to make Halo great. ODST proved it. Reach proved it. Forward Unto Dawn proved it, even though Chief does show up towards the end. And there are some books that absolutely prove it. Halo works because Halo is bigger than just one person. Halo is the UNSC soldiers. Halo is sacrifice, mystery, friendship, loss, community, and above all, hope. And honestly, every single person I've ever introduced Halo to, you know what they talk about first? It's not Halsey or Oni or Forerunners or Mendicant Bias or Slip Space engines. They just talk about fun. They talk about laughing, driving warthogs off cliffs, playing customs, betraying each other, staying online too late, losing track of time, playing until 3 o'clock in the morning. Then they get curious. They seek out books. They watch Halo Legends. They watch Forward Unto Dawn. They hop on YouTube and discover Installation 00. They discover Hidden Xperia. Then they suddenly have opinions about Oni. And now they're doomed. Because Halo doesn't demand investment. Halo earns it. Fun first, community second, curiosity third, lore fourth. And honestly, I think that's true of a lot of things, not just Halo, but communities, friendships, stories, podcasts. People don't stick around because you know everything. People stick around because they enjoy being around you. People stick around because they laughed, because they felt welcomed, because they felt included, because they felt like they belonged. And my friends, if Halo taught me anything over the last 25 years, maybe that's the biggest lesson. People show up for the games. People stay for the people. And honestly, I think that's probably true for Halo. I think it's probably true for AJN, and I think that's probably true for life as a whole. And honestly, if they ever decide to take another swing at Halo TV, I think that's the secret. Just start with people, start with friends, start with a squad, start with the community. Because 25 years later, that's what Halo kids still remember. And I think that's probably why Halo kids won. And you know, speaking of people, a listener of this show actually reminded me of something recently. Something I had read years ago, something that completely changed how I looked at Chief as an adult. So let's talk about Palace Hotel. So this listener reaches out to me, and he's a Halo fan, a guy who originally found the show through the James Dallas Egbert episode, which is still one of the strangest origin stories for a Halo conversation that I've ever heard. And we've been going back and forth talking Halo, talking books, lore, the Chief, talking memories. And he reminded me of something I had read years ago, a story from Halo Evolutions, Palace Hotel. And my friends, the second he brought it up, everything began to click into place. Because there's a moment in that story that absolutely destroys me. Chief encounters a Marine and eventually realizes something. She's someone that he knew on Eridanus. Someone from before Reach, before his augmentation, before Mjolnir, before humanity's greatest soldier. Back when he was still just John. And as far as she's concerned, John died all those years ago. He was someone she mourned, because in a way, he did die. The world was told one story. Meanwhile, the truth was something else entirely. And for just a moment, Chief has an opportunity. An opportunity I think almost every single one of us would take. To say, hey, it's me. I'm still here. To reclaim just one small piece of the life that was stolen from him. One connection, one memory, one moment of normalcy, one chance to stop being Master Chief and just be John. And honestly, after everything that man has lost, who could blame him? Who could blame him for wanting one thing back? Just one person, one memory, one piece of home. But he doesn't do it. He stays silent because he understands something. If he tells her, everything changes. She becomes distracted. He becomes distracted. The mission changes. The stakes change. People start making emotional decisions. And in a war, emotional decisions can get people killed. So he says nothing, and she walks away, never knowing John was right there. And Chief carries that, just like he carries everything else. And I think that's why the scene hurts, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares so damn much. And honestly, I think that's where I finally met Master Chief as an adult. Not Halo CE Chief or Halo 2 Chief, not cool guy Chief, not bomb carrying Chief, not giving the Covenant back their bomb Chief, but adult Chief. The guy who understands that doing the right thing isn't always the easy thing. Sometimes doing the right thing hurts. Sometimes doing the right thing means giving up something you desperately like to have. Sometimes doing the right thing means carrying things quietly, not because anyone will thank you or because anyone will know, or you'll get the credit, just because you believe it's the right thing to do. And at 37, that lands differently because by 37, most of us have had our own Palace Hotel moments. Things we wish we'd said, people we wish we'd talked to, conversations we wish we'd had, versions of ourselves we'd do anything to go back and visit. But life doesn't work that way, does it? All you can do is just keep moving, keep showing up, keep carrying what needs carried, and keep trying to choose the harder right, even when no one is watching. And I think that's the thing I finally realized. I didn't spend 5 episodes studying the Master Chief. I spent 5 episodes studying us. And I think that's the thing I finally realized making this whole series. Or maybe finally admitted to myself. Because when I sat down to write part 1, I thought I knew exactly what this was going to be. I thought I was going to spend 5 episodes making the argument that Master Chief is gaming's greatest hero. Simple enough, easy, open and shut case, cue Steve, roll those credits. And somewhere around brainstorming part 4, or maybe this part, I realized I wasn't really studying Chief at all. I was really talking about us. Us Halo kids, people carrying stories, people carrying friendships, grief, seasons of their lives, old emblems, old gamer tags, old screenshots. People carrying pieces of themselves. And I think that's why this episode changed on me. Because somewhere between talking about Halo 2 midnight launches and a listener reminding me about Palace Hotel and laughing about the absolute insanity that was Xbox Live, I finally understood something. I wasn't recording 5 episodes about a fictional super soldier. I was recording 5 episodes about a phone call. 25 years ago. A friend calling me saying, dude, you've got to come over this weekend and play this game. And you know what? I'm really glad I answered that phone call. And that's it. Before I get out of here, seriously, thank you for hanging out with me for 5 episodes. Episodes of me apparently discovering in real time that I wasn't making a series about a super soldier. I was just making a series about growing up. About stories, friends, memories, seasons of life, and the weird little pieces of ourselves that we always carry with us. And honestly, the fact that some of you willingly sat through all 5 parts with me means a lot. Genuinely, thank you. And the funny thing about stories is we think they're about endings, but most of the time they're just about handoffs, passing something along, keeping something alive long enough for someone else to discover why it mattered in the first place. And 25 years later, Halo is still here. We're still here. Us Halo kids, we grew up, we got married, had kids, started careers, lost people, found people, got older, started making noises every time we stood up. But you know what? Chief kept showing up, waiting patiently for us to come back. And now Halo Campaign Evolved launches in just a few short weeks, and a whole new generation of Halo kids are going to step into that armor for the very first time. They're going to crash land on Installation 04. They're going to get to meet Cortana, Johnson. They're going to get to fight the Covenant, run from the Flood, hear that iconic music, look up into the sky and see a halo ring stretching off into the distance. And maybe, just maybe, they're going to understand why a bunch of 30 and 40-something Halo kids still get emotional talking about this franchise. And us, we'll be right there with them. The old guard, stepping back onto Installation 04, picking up an assault rifle, hearing that music, and arguing about whether Halo 2 is still considered the best in the entire franchise, and smiling the entire time, and remembering why we fell in love with this universe in the first place. Because honestly, what a time to be alive. And while I've got you here, episode 100 is coming up in just a few short months, which honestly feels crazy to say out loud. So I want to hear from you. How did you find the show? What's been your favorite episode? Which episode hit you the hardest? What rabbit hole do you want me to disappear into next? Shoot me an email at averagejoenerdcast@gmail.com, or drop it in the comments, or throw it over into the lobby. I would genuinely love to hear from you. And speaking of the lobby, if you haven't joined us yet, then come hang out with us. You've got Average Joe Nerdcast, the lobby over on Facebook, and the Discord is up and running. And honestly, it's becoming exactly what I hoped it would be. Just a bunch of nerds hanging out, talking video games, movies, books, rabbit holes, life, and occasionally pretending producer Steve is a functioning member of society. The lobby's always open. I'll drop links to both in the show notes. Come take a load off and stay a while. And finally, a quick shout out to my player 2. Thank you for surviving the month where our household essentially became a UNSC forward operating base. Thank you for pretending to be interested every single time I started a sentence with, well, according to Halo Canon. Thank you for tolerating the fact that I looked at a 6-hour retrospective on Master Chief and genuinely thought, you know what this needs? 4 more episodes. Thank you for supporting every weird creative endeavor, even the ones that make absolutely no sense to normal people. I appreciate you, and I promise, the next 5-part retrospective probably won't involve Spartan 2s. Probably. No promises. And to everyone that stuck around for all 5 episodes, seriously, I can't say it enough. Thank you. It was really fun revisiting 25 years of Halo memories with each and every one of you. I've been Nate. Stay gold, nerd bold. And if you've got someone that introduced you to Halo, maybe shoot them a message. Tell them thanks. Mine probably has no idea he accidentally changed my life. But 25 years later, still really glad I answered that phone call. Controllers down, Joes. And I'll catch you on the next one.
Game over.